Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming, and some of you on Twitter, the Gaming Drag today, and coming back at you with another Let's Play episode of Beasts of the Thorns. So let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go... Where were we at? Ah, here we go. Alright. The long class finally has come to an end, and my remaining brain cells had almost completely forgotten the content of the Troll Professor's lecture. But I did have one takeaway. Ostrom's ancestors are real tyrants. I was about to say it. Ostrom's ancestors, the Twin Kings dynasty, were indeed warmongers, engaging in battles at every opportunity, and even intervening in other countries' thrones disputes from afar. No wonder they were wiped out. Don't tell that to Senior Ostrom, though. I'm not gonna be that stupid, okay? You're treating me like a child again. You'll always be a little kid to me. I rolled my non-existent eyes. Okay, Mom. Chris smiled understandingly and stroked my helmet. I guess he was going to stroke my head, but it wasn't there anymore. I saw Chris's smile suppressing some emotion as he withdrew his hand. Now that we're finally free, shall we find a place to relax? Sounds great. We haven't wandered around the Humanities College yet. Have you guys seen that lakeside cafe? Then we can go there and sit and relax. I've just got some paperwork to fill out. I've got some things to do, so go ahead. What's the rush? Let's go together, Amor said, hooking his arm around Chris's shoulders, but the big dog still pushes Amor's arm away with difficulty. I'm really sorry. I'll make it up to you next time. What's all the fuss about, anyway? Chris scratched his ears in embarrassment. He doesn't want to lie to me, but he doesn't want to confess either. But Amor wasn't about to let him off so easily. The fox deftly pulled out a stack of documents from Chris's backpack and began reading them carefully. But it was immediately discovered by Chris, who knocked Amor on the head and snatched the file back. And this back and forth, I also saw the contents of the file, a big stack of resumes. What are you going to interview for? Chris shifted positions with difficulty, scratching the back of his ears and then his neck, his mind in full swing trying to figure out how to tell the euphemistic truth without lying. But he didn't have to open his mouth for me to guess what was happening. Even with his scholarships and student loans, he was short of money. He returned all the money his uncle used to pay for his upbringing, leaving not a single coin for himself. So he came to the outer limits, all in debt, and started over. He needs work. I won't be as busy as I used to be, I promise. I just need to work for a while until I can compete for the fraternity's hunting bonus. I really must pay back my uncle as soon as possible, because I may not have the chance to see him in the future, and I just have to be a little patient. There you go. Ugh. I can understand why Chris is anxious to settle his debts, even if he has let himself be so strapped for cash. None of us can go back, not to human society, not to our old lives. I think of the warehouse I still have on the human side, and as I close the door, I know in the back of my mind that I will never open it again. My collection, my books, my trophies, my medals, they'll never be seen again. But Chris is still with me. I can still do something. Excuse me. You're only lacking living expenses, right? Let me lend you some in advance, okay? How can I let you lend me money? You're not exactly wealthy yourself. I don't eat or drink, and I don't have to pay rent for the dormitory. Besides buying books, I don't have anywhere else to spend money, right? Don't argue. The fraternity has a nice student allowance, and I can cook for you. The big bear gave us a friendly hug. Don't worry about the money. As long as you perform well enough on your first hunt, you'll naturally get a bonus. Waiting for the first hunt to come, which seemed to be a distant prospect. We've already been living on a shoestring budget. Chris suddenly and nervously lunged at Bjorn, trying to stop the bear from speaking next, but the bear blocked Chris with a puzzled look on his face. Your first hunt is the day after tomorrow, right? Hess shouldn't know about this. It's not what Ostrom said. What's there to hide from Hess about the first hunt? You guys have to prepare, right? After all, your first hunt has been moved up by 2 weeks, so you better get moving. I'm staring at Chris. He shrunk a little, smelled like a loss. I stared at him more aggressively. I thought it was radiating a great deal of pressure, but after all, being unable to put any sort of expression was much less intimidating, and Chris just watched in annoyance as I brought my helmet closer to his face. Hess, this is really bothering me. Chris? I have an interview with the owner. Excuse me. He's running away. I watched in astonishment as Chris swiftly left, carrying his backpack. Although Chris is kind-hearted, he's also stubborn and inflexible. For instance, despite his uncle's repeated refusals to accept repayment for the upbringing fees, he insisted on forcing his uncle to take the money, causing some unpleasantness. His uncle, Mr. Alexandrowitz, has approached me multiple times to mediate, but he still wouldn't stop Chris's stubbornness. He sighed, attributing Chris's temperament to his generic inheritance from Nud. Chris never speaks about things he doesn't want to, but he rarely just leaves me behind like this. It feels like there's something more going on. Run, Chris, just run! At least I have a bear with an unreliable mouth and a head to interrogate. Hess, what are you doing? I feel like you're thinking about something really dangerous, huh? Do you want to confess, or do I have to do it the hard way? Are we going to get tough? Bjorn held up his hand and compared it to my height, and raised his arms that were thicker than my legs. Don't you think you're getting a little ahead of yourself? Ha, big boy. In the face of this great body? Brawny, stalwart, and charming bear. Bjorn posed confidently like a bodybuilder, showing off his pecs as well as his biceps. I look at Bjorn's rounded stomach and see that he's overconfident about his body. I know of a fake bear who, to make himself smell like a real bear... This little matter can't coerce me. Bjorn puts on a stricken expression and cuts his mouth off. One day, a fake bear, smelling of catnip, walked out of the room. Stop! I surrender! I confess! I'll confess anything you ask! I was amazed at how quickly the bear changed his face when he immediately dropped his pride and begged for forgiveness. Amor shot me an incredulous look, then sighed sadly. Give me that, Hess. Don't give me that. Hess learned something bad, look. This is what I learned from you. Amor resonated with my thoughts and opened his mouth to protest. I immediately pressed his nose, and he squinted at my fingers, forgetting what he was going to say. Then he burst out laughing with a poof sound. Don't think this trick works every time. I'm ignoring the fox and focusing on interrogating Bjorn. So, how much do you know? My lord, spare me. All I know is that Ostrom has moved up your initial hunt significantly for Chris. As for the reason, I don't know. It's a privileged act, so I haven't dared to let Darwin know yet either. Don't look at me like that. That's really all I know, please. I laughed out loud. Bjorn is really funny, but he's not as dumb as he acts. So, what's your suggestion? Bjorn looked to his left and right and leaned over to whisper in my ear in a mysterious manner. I hear there's a ranger who's more powerful than I am and will probably know what's going on. I hear there's a ranger... Okay. A patroller more formidable than Bjorn. Bjorn holds the current position of the second seat of patrollers. Above him is the current chief patroller, who is also the chief hunter, Ostrom himself. However, I don't expect to get any straight answers after prying open that mouthful of sharp teeth. But I do know another former chief patroller. He was a brilliant student in shamanic medicine, an outsider, and the protege of Professor Malachite, Lucas Sr. As if sensing that I picked up on what he was saying, Bjorn smiled contentedly. Well, I'll just say goodbye here first. My squad is training this afternoon. As captain, I have to be there early to set an example. I thought of his bear squad and nodded. Bjorn gave each of us a bear hug and left gracefully. Why does this bear love to hug people so much? Amor sniffed himself less than pleasantly, deeply afraid of catching bear scent. It's very warm. A lot like him. I like him a lot. At least he's friendlier than Darwin. I actually find Darwin more easygoing. He's straightforward and unfiltered, wearing his likes and dislikes on his sleeve. Bjorn is friendly with everyone, but you never know what's going on in his head. You're too suspicious. Aren't foxes supposed to be suspicious? That's you being naive. How dare you? Pretending to be annoyed, I bumped into him with my body. He retaliated by bumping me back, and we both burst into laughter. So, what did the bear tell you? He hinted that I could question Lucas. I think you're worrying too much about what might not be a big deal. I sighed. I don't know. I always feel very uneasy. The outer world is too foreign to us, like the history lesson just now. It's all distant and unknown to me. I'll make everything better. Besides, this is the outer realm, the utopia of creatures. What could possibly go wrong? Or is it that? Amore's voice turns bitter. Do you feel uneasy because of the demons? What are you talking about, silly? You know, we've been caught on the human side, consciously or unconsciously, that demons are evil. You are a demon. Chris is a demon. I am a demon. If demons are evil, then I'm willing to be on the evil side. But, Amor, demons aren't evil, weak, stupid, or vile. That's discrimination born out of hate, and modern humans don't think that way anymore. That's because you aren't a demon. At least not before. I have been confronted with human prejudice since I was a child, so I have to hide my true self and live pretending to be human. But here, in the outer realm, I can be myself. You can also be yourself. I froze. Though I couldn't quite understand what he meant, I could sense his desire to be recognized. To me, you're still you. Changing your appearance won't change anything. Besides, your furry look is adorable. I'm not cute. Amor denied it angrily. You're adorable, with your nimble big ears, bright orange fur, and gray eyes, not to mention that fluffy tail that begs to be petted. Stop. Amor covered his face with one hand. Hess, do you realize that what you just said in the creature world is akin to a love confession? And now it's my turn to feel embarrassed. I knew it. Praising a creature's fur is like complimenting a human's hair. It's flattering their appearance. I can't wait to dig a hole in the ground and hide. Especially the tail, which is a very personal part. Enough! I got it! Amor's expression was mixed. For a moment, an awkwardness hung in the air. Don't you have some paperwork to fill out? Let's go to the outdoor cafe next door. Amor nodded and hurried to put out the awkward conversation he just had behind him. We originally planned to leisurely walk to the lakeside cafe, but in the end, to save time, we found a nearby cafe with outdoor seating. A ferret waiter promptly approached us, asking what we would like to order. Alright, y'all, I'm actually going to pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all, and I shall see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!